Thanks for coming. So we are Joan and Jonathan, and they already introduced ourselves. We have been working together in Free Now, formerly My Taxi. Maybe some of you know about that company. He has been working there for 2.5 years. I have been working there too, from 1.5 years. And maybe you are asking why we are talking you about learning from fast growing. This was our reality during the last almost 3 years. So the company decided to open a tech hub here in Barcelona, and it started with 4 people in 2017. And this December, the last count is 112 people, and we continue growing. So what happened with that? Many of the things that we are used to do change. Many of the communications that we are used to do change. And many of the anything that you used to do change, and you need to adapt. And we learn it in the worst way as ever, that is failing. We have a funny anecdote here. That is one day that Joan came on the corridor and he was super frustrated because some new people started that day, that month, because we are right to have 10 people starting in the same month, maybe in the same week. And he was like, wow, there is a lot of new people and I don't meet them. I don't know how they are called, how they are named, sorry. I was like, hey, Joan, this is normal. I was coming from Privalia. We were like 700 people working in the same office. Don't expect to meet everyone. I was, yeah, but I like to meet the people that is in the office. I don't know how are you feeling today about that.
Yeah, today is like this. You don't know people anymore, but coming from a startup background that we were just 4 or 5 people, and then growing this, it's usual that you find this kind of things.
Well, so going further with the topic, this is the agenda for today. This is what we want to talk about, our experience. So we are going to give you some of our learnings. For sure, they are not all there. We need to learn more. So maybe today is that, maybe tomorrow we change. Some strategies we did when we had to grow the tribes, because we are working in tribes like Spotify, the Spotify model, because we started with that model and then we evolved, but we keep the tribes, so it's like a group of teams. So the strategies that we are following when we need to create new teams, and we are going to explain you also one of the splitting techniques that we are using to create those new teams. So Joan now is going to explain you a little bit about our experience.
Okay, so as Jonah said, when I started we were just 4 people in the Barcelona office, and you can imagine, as we said, I knew everyone, their names, the names of their wives, everything. And when we started to grow, one of the first learnings that we had was this one, that the onboarding cycle never ends. Why that? Because imagine that you are the first day of the month and one guy is starting. Okay, so you do the onboarding, you explain everything, and that's fine. But the 15th of the same month, now, 2 more guys are starting, and you do the same thing. But you know what? The 20th, also, 1 more guy is starting, and you need to start all over again. And some month, we did that from up to 10 people in the same month. So you can imagine how scary it was. And this was me trying to onboard these 5 people, and I was super happy. You know, I like to explain things. Being a Scrum Master or a Agile coach, I like to explain things. And I was super happy. All the tools, the processes, how we work, and everything. But then there was a moment like, whoa. And I was feeling that I was repeating myself. And it's like, you're going back always the same thing, doing the same day, the same thing. It was like not the best feeling maybe. And also, we tried to try to solve this. We tried to do a cycle where we were doing this onboarding every month in the same way. Like we were having the process introduction, and agile introduction, and the team agreements, and or in the same cycle. And it doesn't matter if you start the first day, the 15th, or the 20th. We were doing in these cycles. And we're embracing this cycle because you know that you need to repeat this. So at least you also can manage your expectations with people and with yourself. That's also important. And at the beginning, as I was alone, the onboarding was something like this. Like the Scrum Master taking care of everything. And having also this mindset of, I'll do it, don't worry. Yeah? So felt like all the big things on top of me. And even when we started, there was no HR in Barcelona. So we were doing even things that belongs more to the HR process than actually explaining things about Agile. And we realized, okay, this is not working anymore. So right now, the onboarding is something like this. Like the developers, the tech leads, the HR that we have now, and the product owners, they are all helping us to onboard all the new people. And then this big ball now is less heavy because we are all helping in this onboarding. Second, learning. Multicultural environments are challenging. You know, we are growing so fast. Yep. So we attract talent from Barcelona, but it's not enough. Then we go and we attract talent from all over Spain, but it's not enough. So let's go to attract talent from all over the world. Sounds funny, a lot of cultures in the same place, what can go wrong? Let me tell you one story. Let me introduce you to two guys with names that you will not know, Kudrapali and Wolovic. Yeah? Kudrapali comes from India and Wolovic is from Russia. Kudrapali is a guy that sees Wolovic as a lead. He's not a lead, but he's like a natural lead, a little bit more senior. And he was seeing, Kudrapali was seeing Wolovic as a lead. And the situation was like this. Wolovic was saying, why don't we do this button white? And Kudrapali was saying, okay. But inside he was not saying, okay. He was saying, this should be red. What do we do in these situations? And this was because in the Indian culture, they are not used to say no to a person that they found a leader. And we covered in this hard way. So to try to mitigate this and to solve this and try to have all the cultures in a healthy way in our office, we started doing some things about our feedback culture. Doing nonviolent communication trainings, constructive disagreement, even the conflict resolution. It was all about teaching the teams and people how to talk and give feedback between each other in every single moment. In the end, all of these tools is something that will help you to manage all the culture that you have in your office. Because it's not easy at all. It sounds funny, but it's not easy. And let's go to the third learning. Do not apply shortcuts. You know, you're going so fast, so you tend to sometimes to do things in the fast way. And also, I will explain it better with a drawing than with words. Imagine this situation. There's a team that's in a rush, and they say, you know what? We are going to finish everything, and we are going to test in the end. And you feel inside yourself, your Scrum Master saying, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. They say, no, for this time, it's okay. And then you find this situation 3 months ago. Then, you know what? We are always testing in the end, and it is not Agile. What? What happened here? It was the thing that was just a temporary solution. This is something that one time and that's it. And now, this is the common rule? What happened? And you find that you have a closet that it's full of temporary solutions. And when you want to start cleaning, it's just too much. So if you need to do these temporary solutions, these quick wins, try to not do it, first thing. Or if you do it, try to solve it as soon as possible, because they will come back as a boomerang as fast as possible. You will see that. Learning number 4. Team building for the win. When we talk about team building, we think about this. It's playing ping pong, doing some barbecues, playing in the swimming pool. It's funny. But we never think about this as a team building. This is just working, yeah? But we found that one of the best tools that we have for team collaboration and for team bonding, it's one thing that we call the offsite week. We rent a house outside the office, and we send the team there for 1 week. And they are all together for 1 week with one goal. And obviously that they are playing ping pong, they are laying a swimming pool and doing barbecues. But it's not the only thing. They are also doing something together. And we found that the teams that went there for 1 week doing this, how they came back, it's amazing. The collaboration completely changed. How they talk to each other, how they help each other, is amazing. So obviously it's not the only tool that we are using for team bonding, but we found that it is a game changer. So if something that you need to take out of this conference, I think this is for me one of the best things to do with the teams. Obviously, the organization is help, just for you to know. Learning number 5, it's not mambo. Let's not keep the same culture. So one of the commands that they had when we started the Tech Hub in Barcelona from Germany was, let's try to keep the same culture that we have in Germany. Big mistake. Because, better I show you. This was my biggest mistake on the company. When people was starting, I was saying, okay, you know, this is our culture, this is how we do things here, so go for it. Now it's done. And this was not the best thing for people. Because, you know, at the end we are hiring super talented people from all over the world with nice experiences that they can contribute to all that we are doing. But if we impose this culture, it's not there anymore. So instead, what we are doing now is obviously that we explain how we do things and what's the culture that we have. But it's not that. It's not only that. It's, okay, how now we can contribute? How can you, with your experience, with what you know and what you are, contribute to all of this? Because in the end, the culture is not something that you have written in a book. In the culture, it's the people that you have in the teams, the people that you have in your company. So as soon as you joins your company, then your culture is changed. So acknowledge that and evolve your culture. Obviously, try to evolve it in a healthy way. And last learning, focus on dependencies. When we are a team of 4 and we do everything, there is no dependencies. We are just us. When we start growing, we start having more teams, then all the dependencies arise. So, again, with a small story, imagine that you are one morning, 2 developers in the coffee machine, and one say to the other, you know what? We are working in the project A. And the other say, what? We are working in the same project. So you can imagine that finding this in a coffee machine in the morning, it's not a nice thing. So the first thing that you need to do when you're growing that fast is try to minimize these dependencies. And if you cannot minimize it giving more autonomy and self-control to each of the teams. But sometimes, even if you do that, you will have still the dependencies. So, what to do? Visualize them. Make people aware of them. They shouldn't find in a coffee machine 9 a.m. in the morning that they have a dependency. They should know it, and they should know who will take care of it. Because dependencies are not solved by magic. Someone needs to do something. And the third and most important thing, deal with the white space. What do I mean by white space? When you create teams, usually also we separate the ownerships. This is your ownership, this is my ownership. Fine. What about the common things? We have things that as we grow, we share. And who is taking care of these things? And you can say, everybody. Okay, so no one. When everybody is responsible for everything, nobody is responsible. So we tried to, the best advice I can give you is try to give the ownership to someone, even if it's not perfect. But at least someone will take care of it and obviously inspect that. And now Jonathan will introduce us the strategies that we have to grow these teams.
Thank you. So, when we are talking about the strategies to grow teams, we mean we have this kind of tribes, groups of teams, and someone say, okay, we need to create a new team. And you know what happened, what the management say when they think about creating a new team. You just hire a lot of people, you sit it together, and bam, you have a team. This is new for any of you? Or worse, you get one experienced developer, you sit it alone, and started hiring people and sit it around him. And hey, we have a new team. Well, we try to focus this in a different way. So we follow mainly two strategies. So the first strategy was growing all the teams that we had in one of the tribes or a section of all the teams. In that case, we have it was a round is missing because the contrast, but there was a round between the dots. So there is a yellow team, blue team, and green team, and we start hiring people. This is not something that happens from one day to another. This takes weeks, they take months, but we have these pink dots that are the new people, let's say. We are onboarding people here. We are training the new people. We are teaching them our culture, including them in our culture, growing, and everything else. But it arrives the moment when we say, okay, now we need to create the new team. Now we need to do it because we have a product necessity. Now we need to go fast, or we need to focus on more things. That is a better approach, in my point of view. Then we get people of all the teams, and we create the new team in base of that. This has some advantage, that is, we have a shared onboarding with all the people involved, in that case, many teams, so many point of view is not a big deal for any of them. Okay, we have someone new, we have two new people, maybe 3, it's not much. And on the other hand, we leave people change of team. So we leave all the people involved in those teams have the possibility of change of team. What happens when we decide to create a new team, we let them, we will see it later, decide if they want to move of team because they have a different necessity, because they want to work with different people, just because the project, they like more the focus, the goal of the new team, they have the option. But we also have some disadvantage. We are disrupting all the teams. So we say that we need to try to have stable teams and not disrupt them. So keeping in mind what we showed at the beginning, that we, in 3 years, grow 120 people, this happens a lot of times. So the stable team doesn't exist. Then we have different context. The people that are joining to the new team have completely different context because they have been working in different teams. That yes, it's the same company, it's the same group of teams, it's the same tools maybe, but they used to do the things differently. They used to go lunch on Wednesday instead of Thursday. They used to have different talk with their teammates. They used to have a specific definition of them for that team. And then you have 3 or more. And the last disadvantage is we found that sometimes people don't like to change. So we give the possibility, that is an advantage to the team, to the people to change of team, but sometimes you found that the people don't want to change, just something similar to the previous one. I want to continue working with my friend. I really like what I'm doing here. I like the mood that we have in the team. I don't want to change. So maybe it's something that you can face in that moment. The next strategy, the last strategy that we are following is growing only one team. In that case, what we do is, with the same 3 teams, only hire people for one team. And when the moment arrives, we split it in 2. Here we have a little different ways of doing it because we tried different approaches. For example, one of the approaches was create 2 completely new teams. Other of the approaches was to keep one of the teams and just create a new one. But the general idea is that with that strategy we have some disadvantage also, that is we disrupt only one team because the rest of the teams can continue working as normal and we keep them stable, or as stable as we can. It's easier to manage expectations of the people. We say, hey guys, we are growing that team. In some moment we are going to split that team. So they know that they are going to decide in some moment that they are going to, it's going to be weeks, months late, but they know that. And this is about generating expectation. This is about people don't feeling live because we said something and we are doing something else. So you are managing their expectation. That is always good. And last, the new teams start with the old team agreements. This is about, we have only one team, they have a way of working, they are used to do the things in a way, and you just create a new team that could be considered a clone, don't get me wrong, of the other team, so they can use these working agreements as a base. This doesn't mean that they are not going to change it in the future, don't get me wrong, we are in a continuous improvement environment, so we want to change, but this is the same that any other team. Any other team has its working agreement and they change it every day if they want, every week, when they need it. This is the same, you can get it as a base. In that case, the disadvantage are we have a team that is constantly forming, storming, and norming, and more in the case in that test that we did of just creating two teams, because then you have to decide another team that is the one that you are going to grow again, and sometimes it's difficult because it's constantly arriving people to the team, it's constantly changing, it increases the difficulty. That is the next disadvantage, that increases the complexity. You know what is doing a daily with a lot of people. The worst case that we had was a team of 16 people. Can you imagine to do a daily with 16 people? Can you imagine to do a retrospective and take actions, useful actions? In that case, for example, we split the team just because of that. We didn't wait for having a product vision or a product necessity. We split it because it was terrible for them. And we had a single context. This is an advantage for one thing and disadvantage for others. So having only one context, we only have one vision of the experiments. Maybe there is another team in the same group of teams that is doing a great experiment, or they already tested something, and those people that is coming to the new team has different experience, and they can decide to do it in based of the experience that they have. Hey, let's estimate in that way. We try it and it's not working because of that, but we can iterate and do something different. As much experience is better. You are going to learn from the fails that you did in the past or in another experience you had. So we are losing that sometimes. Okay, so for finishing, I want to explain you a little bit the splitting technique of in the moment that we decide, okay, we are going to follow that strategy, we hire the people, we are there, we need to create a new team, the technique that we are using, okay? In that case, the first thing, the most important thing is set the boundaries. Again, it's about managing expectations, remember that. In that case, for us, the boundaries is, okay, we need a team with 2 iOS developers, 2 Android developers, 2 backend developers, 1 QA, 1 PO, 1 Scrum Master, as an example. And then we set another boundary. That is, we want 1 veteran by platform. What does it mean? So maybe we want for iOS, Android, and backend, we want 1 developer that has been in the company maybe 6 months, 1 year. Why that? Because we don't want to create a team of people that has been in the company less than 3 months. They don't have experience. You know what happened. We have legacy code. Who knows about the legacy code? The people that have been working in the company for 3 years. It's sad, but it's true. So we set that boundaries, we make it visible, we ensure that everyone hear about that, and then we use that template. This is based on something that was published by BMW, where we set those 3 spots with the labels of the role that we need to fill in the team, a spot to set the team name, and the basic agreement that is, okay, when are we going to perform our events for the team? In that case, it's based in a team that is going to do Scrum. So, and then we live self-organized. We just create a meeting. Maybe we schedule 30 minutes. We set those templates in the visible in the wall. In that case, we were creating two teams, because the team that is staying, the new team, and we leave them. In 15 minutes, normally 10-15 minutes, they already decided. No leadership is interacting here. There is no manager coming and saying, you are going to that place, you are going to that other place. They are deciding. We never found a case where two people were fighting for the same role in one of the teams. We find the case that we finished after 10 minutes, one spot was not filled, and we were, okay, what happened here? No one wanted to join, and we said, okay, let's do it later. We will decide, and we said, hey, we need that. If you don't decide, maybe next week, the managers then are going to decide. 2 hours. In 2 hours, one of the developers was writing me on the Slack and saying me, hey, I want to join to the new team. Let themselves organize. So at the end of the meeting, we have something like that. The fields with the roles and post-its, let's imagine that those are post-its, with the names of the people that are joining to the team. And then we just need to set the agreements. We start with the basic agreements, define the time name, define when you want to schedule your meetings. We leave them to the side. We fill it in this template. And then, depending on the situation, we can start with the all working agreements, all definition of ready, all definition of done of the previous team. Or if they want to get one of the other team's agreements, we can start from there, use it as a base. Remember that they are coming from other teams, it's a base, we change it, or we set this as new. It depends. We'll leave them to the side, and we just provide the tools. You want to do it everything new? Okay, let's schedule something to start working on that. You want to use the all agreements because we are splitting the team? Okay, let's use that. But then they feel self-organized. They do it because you are giving them the tools, not because you are imposing. Okay, thank you very much. This is what we wanted to share today. I don't want to finish without mention our other colleagues in the Tech Hub of Barcelona, the other Scrum Master, that also collaborate a lot in that presentation, because Joan and me are the visible faces today, but this is the work of the four of us. So don't hesitate in coming any of the 4 people that is there. If you have any question, for sure you can ask now, but if you want to comment something, maybe share any other experience, please come to any of us and let's start a conversation. Thank you very much.
There's any questions?
Yeah.
I think there's one other with a microphone.
Hello. Thank you for this talk, very interesting. I actually work in a startup which is growing more or less like that, actually a little bit faster. We have 55 million in the bank, so at the beginning of the year they were 4 people. Now we are already 140 in all the company in less than a year, and we are not live yet. So it's a little bit faster than that. That's why I wanted to ask you another thing. How or do you do anything about coaching and the technical, something to help the technical skill to spread in the technical team, something like community of practices or actually a real coaching program for technical skills?
So we have the structure of the Spotify engineering culture, so we have these chapters that are organized by the platform, and they have their own communities, their own things where they share the knowledge. But even we have the role of the chapter lead. It's a role of a lead and a coach for the rest of the developers, and he's acting as a coach for these technical skills. And when it comes to other types like agile abilities or how to communicate to others, then we Scrum Masters, we are taking care of this. And also we have the role of the tri-blade, it's acting as a umbrella for everything. But yeah, coaching, it's a big matter. Even we have also the role of the buddy, someone that it's usually from the same team because it's easier, that it's like acting as the icebreaker for these new people inside the company.
And we also have this about learn now courses.
Oh yeah.
That this is what we used to do actively, but then also have, let's say, passive initiative. That, for example, we have a place that we list a lot of courses that any other person in the company is performing. So can be anything that you can train about, and anyone can request, I want to do that. Normally we wait until there are a number of people interested, and then we organize a training for that, and that person is doing it. So anyone in the company that has any skill that want to share can do it. Any other question?
Thank you very much. Sorry for making you walk all So thank you for the presentation. I like it very much, especially all the drawing. I don't know if it's true. You're a good drawer. So my question is, you were talking about international context, and then you showed us that there is a board which you can, when you want to, this one. Afterward? No. Yes. So, do you use, this is when you want to create a new team, so what about your colleagues that are abroad or connected with you with other tools? Do they use other tools to make this team forming, norming, all this kind of thing, or they are not concerned about that, they are chosen by management? And it's a distributed team. And another question, have you ever faced a situation when you have to solve a team, dissolve a team, sorry. You have to dissolve a team. You are finished with the team and you have to just spread all the others again to other teams, or how do you do this?
I think you can answer the first one and I can answer the second.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can you remind me the first one?
First one is, how do you do this in the context of distributed?
Yeah. So we are a remote-friendly environment, but we don't have people that is abroad. So all the people that we hire, they come to live to Barcelona. So that's we are hiring from people, a lot of people from Brazil, for example, and they are coming to live to Barcelona. And for example, our company, our headquarters are in Hamburg, and they opened Barcelona. One of the reasons, because it's Barcelona, and you can hire people from abroad. And but we have a remote-friendly environment. So for this kind of things, we prefer people to be on site. But then for the rest of the things, we are all remote-friendly. All the ceremonies and everything, it's, and the decisions even, remote-friendly.
Okay, about the second question, if we had to destroy a team anytime, it happened not too far away. For many reasons that I'm not going to explain now, the team was having was desmotivated totally with the team, with the name of the team, because, well, in that case, I'm not going to start enter in whys, but they were completely desmotivated. So what I did is came to a retrospective and say that, okay, instead of talking about what went well or what went wrong in the sprint, how are you feeling about the team? What does the team mean for you? What does the name mean for you? And I started showing their feelings about that. So after that, I asked them, what do we do? No answer. Shall we continue with a team? Shall we destroy it? And then I leave them the opportunity to decide if they want to destroy the team or not. And in that case, they decided to do it. And not only that, they decided to do it and open and recreate again the team with the same people, but opening the possibility to other people, other colleagues in the tribe, in that case in the tribe, to join. And they did it. and we went to the part of forming, norming, setting the name again, setting the working agreement. We are working, and because we didn't want to start with what we had previously, so in that case, instead of use the working agreement as a base, we destroy the working agreement. We use it for some days, like, okay, we need to continue having at least some definition of ready, some definition done until we have the new one, but we are ready, okay, we are going to destroy the definition of ready, we are going to write it again. We are going to write again the working agreement, and we are working on that. And the mood of the team changed completely. They are super happy now, because they did it. I think you had a question?
Hi, thank you for this. That was really, oh, sorry. That was really enlightening because I also work at a startup and we are kind of facing this right now because we're growing. And you pointed out a lot of different things, but I wanted to know if you had a strategy or something that was related to having teams on specific, like QA, backend, front end, and having them all working together, and then wanted to form new teams breaking up or disrupt that environment, or not.
So I should say that in the beginning we didn't have any strategy. It was like, that we need to do something about it. Okay. But then when we started facing the first problems is where we came up with the strategies, and we try always to create these cross-platform teams that it's at least one person per platform inside the team. The only rule that we don't feel necessary from when we create new teams from the beginning is the QA role, because it's something that they can share and they can learn from the previous roles that are in the company. But we always try to have this person per platform, and as they are organized in these chapters, they help each other to be onboarded as fast as possible into these teams. But obviously, the new guys that we hire, they are not going alone to a new team because this doesn't work. They start in a team that they already at least have one mate that it's for a company for a long time.
And maybe it was not enough explained. When we set that boundaries, is okay, we want the team to be created and we want them to self-organize to do it. But for example, that boundaries are set by, in that case, by the management in base, collaborating with product, knowing what we need to do, because we need to cover some necessities. So we don't, okay, let's create a team and wherever it is working. No, we need a team with these qualities, with these roles, being able to do that thing. So for that reason, we set the boundaries. So we didn't face a situation that they want to create a QA team, for example. In that case, yeah.
I understand that it's a form of alignment and you leave the team the freedom to do it, but you have a certain, you create that and then you say, hey, this is the team I want, and then how can we do it?
We tried that it's the minimal things that you need to create a team. So if we have a big list here of boundaries, it's tough. So we try to keep it as small as possible. That it's just the ground rules, and apart here, self-organized to people. Okay. I think we need to finish, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.